Game number 1 in our semi-final. Elysium is going up against the Evil Murkies. So, well, we have our first map and it is Infernal Shrines. So, guys, we have a Zul ban already. Zul gains a lot of value on Infernal Shrines because you can use him to rotate between 2 lanes while the objective is up on the map and simply take down the waves, get experience for your team, push them back a little bit with that wave clear that he has, where the fight is, of course, usually like drawn out over the Punishers, and that gives Zul a huge priority on this map. We have a couple of other heroes that are also very strong here, and well, the Evil Murkies have first of all to make a decision on Illidan. They decide that even with the setup here, even with everything else that Infernal Shrine gives them as options, they still don't want to go up against Illidan. You can't really blame them for that, so they're currently hovering over the ban, and they also lock it down. Again, we're in the first map of a best-of-3 series here at the ZOTAC Cup monthly final, and also Chromie is allowed. Elysium is starting things off with a Sonya. And Sonya is, of course, oftentimes the hero that you try to play against Illidan in particular, which in this case has been banned out. But even without Illidan, she's just a huge force on maps like Infernal Shrine, because she has a lot of self-sustain at the front line. She can always try and push the opponent back. She gets decent wave clear, can go into the Seismic Slam on level 4 as a talent to get a bit more wave play even in AoE, so that on the Infernal Shrines you get the objective a bit easier. And the Evil Murkies are doing one of the few things that they can basically do here. They pick away Tassadar. They're thinking about it. I would like it, to be honest with you. I really feel like they need to pick Tassadar away from the Sonya composition. And a Nubarak already being used here as well, which is always cool for us as viewers, since the Nubarak is one of the heroes that Blizzard tweaked quite a bit just recently in one of the recent patches. Him and Arthur's, which we could actually see in this setup now as well. But it's definitely going to be pretty cool to see that. Cocoon is amazing if you go for the sustain that you can also add on level 10 instead. Then this is pretty sweet as well with the Locust Swarm. And it feels like the French team is actually willing to let Tassadar go. I mean, Kalthas is of course always a very good hero to take on Infernal Shrines. I can certainly understand why they make this decision. But this will allow Elysium Gaming to go into Tassadar now to just empower Sonya a little bit more. And Tassadar is much more than that. It's not only about these shields that he has. Of course, as a shield robot, he does an amazing job. But never forget that he has also the Force Wall, which is amazing for zoning, especially on Infernal Shrines, where you have very close openings onto the shrine that you can lock down. And you also have the Storm, which gives you a bit more AoE, which just reigns supreme on this map in particular. Wave clear is really important here, and especially on the shrine, that is. So Tassadar is taken. And, well, Elysium Gaming at this point has to think a little bit about how they want to play. Do they already want to commit to another healer, which is something they could do? I feel it's a bit unlikely that they will, though. Tassadar Rega, for example, together with the Sonya is fantastic. But instead, it seems like we could see that Tychus. And Tychus is, of course, a hero that if you look at other regions, Tychus has already been played quite a bit. Tychus was actually scrimmed with in the European scene months ago already, and a couple of the teams had certain pocket picks where they would use a Tychus in tournaments, in Leicester and also in Tour, but the scenario never really came up, so they never really had to play the hero. But since then, Tychus actually gained a lot of popularity, especially when we're looking at the Korean scene, and we're seeing him also in the North American server a little bit more. And on this map, of course, he can give you also a lot of value, as it's a very stationary objective where you can get a lot of you can get a lot out of the drill. You can go into Commandeer Odin as well. But just as a damage dealer on a single target, he's incredibly powerful. That minigun followed by an overkill can take down nearly any tank, especially the hit point heavy frontliners are, of course, heroes that don't really want to deal with the Tychus there. So already a very cool setup for Elysium Gaming. And now that we have the bans coming in, the Evil Murkies are first of all getting rid of Uther. It's very like basically the game that's being played here right now is that Elysium Gaming, they didn't take the opportunity to pick their main healer. So what the Evil Murkies are doing is they take one of the very strong supporters for the front line and pick the other. So they ban out Uther, they're going to take Rhaegar, and that will leave Elysium with maybe a Tyrande. Stack attack! Welcome back, dude. How you doing? Thank you, bro. Thanks a lot, buddy. Stack attack is real again.
Hello everyone.
Yeah, hello to you too. Welcome back, Stack. I was just talking about like the potential healers. They could go into a Karazhan, for example. The Tyrande banned out since apparently Elysium Gaming was a bit afraid of having the Evil Murkies run a CC comp with the Nubarak that they already have. Could be played. I have to admit that I don't think that Tyrande ban is like the best ban here. Either they were really afraid of the CC chain, or they said, hey, Starfall is going to get too much value on this map, and we don't want to go up against Kel'Thas with his Phoenix plus a Starfall on top of it. It's basically that death zone that you can create right over the particular, over the shrine, and I feel like that's what they were afraid of the most. So the Murkies, they go into Rhaegar as expected after the Uther ban. They go into... I would love an Arthas here. I really feel Arthas would be great because he has the additional option to just like give them a bit more wave clear thanks to the Frozen Tempest that he can use on the Shrine. I can totally understand a Meridian, don't get me wrong, but I would love an Arthas here as well. For now, though, they're actually switching away from the tanks. Reason for this is actually quite simple, I feel. I think really that a priority on tanks would be great for them, but... there's so many good tanks still available that they don't really have the need to pick it now. Whereas if they let Falstad go, there's a chance that the Elysium Gaming is actually going to pick up Falstad for themselves, and that would be a bit of a nuisance. But no matter what Elysium is picking right now in terms of frontline, there's always going to be another option for the Evil Murkies to go straight into a good frontliner like an Arthas. They can go into that Meridian that they've shown. Even if there's now a double tank again in addition to the Sonya that they're already running without a second support for Elysium Gaming, which is kind of crazy. But even if they do that, there's still the opportunity to go into a Johanna, for example, which by no means is a bad hero to take on this map. So very, very good decision here by the Evil Murkies to go into the Falstad first. I like it quite a bit. It gives them a bit more AoE on the Shrine fight, and they can also go into an auto attack build if they really feel the need to do that. For me personally, the question is really, are we going to see that Karazim for Elysium Gaming? They go into the Stitches, which I personally find a bit surprising here, since I thought they would more lean towards maybe like a Meridian, maybe an Arthas here. But of course, if they go into Stitches, they have an opportunity to also go into more of a Slam build. K-chan, thank you very much for the resub as well. Cheers for that. But I feel the Stitches with the Slam build right now would suffer a bit from being the only real frontliner. Sonya is usually not the one who wants to take a lot of damage. There's the Karazim. I would like the Karazim over the Malfurion, I have to admit. Malfurion has the opportunity to set those roots down after a hook, but I feel with a Force Wall they can accomplish very similar things. Karazim could go into a 7-sided strike if they feel that he doesn't really need the palm here. So you hook the target, you put the Force Wall down, you get the 7-sided strike in, and therefore all the damage. So I wouldn't really mind that too much. I think in this particular setup an Arthas would really thrive. I would like that over a Meridian. I really like the idea of an Arthas here, since he has even more lockdown, and in addition to that you have the Frozen Tempest, which helps you for the Shrine fights, and also of course you get that 16 talent, also the 16 talent for the extra roots. You have on 13 the talent where you can just like log down the auto attack a little bit. I like the setup for the Evil Murkies.
You are not
Thank you very much for the sub, my friend. And yeah, these boys are going to play in one of the next games, of course, after they just defeated Team Whatever. But now we're having also, besides that Tychus, and that's one of the heroes that I really want to see. So guys, game number 1 in the best of 3 series here at the semi-final of the ZOTAC Cup monthly final, and we're going to jump in with Infernal Shrines being map number 1. Welcome everybody to game number 1 in the best of 3 series on Infernal Shrines. We have to the left side our French team, the Evil Murkies. We're currently seeing Q on Kel'Thas. We're seeing Z on Nuborak. I don't know if that's a Smurf account. I guess so. Lotea is playing Rhaegar. We have Danatan on Arthas, and we see Arcane on Falstad in this game. And to the right side, we're having the red team, which in this case is of course Elysium Gaming, with Mitch on Karazim, AR on Tychus. We're seeing Dirty Sweet on Tassadar. Bad Benny was apparently a bad boy. He's on Stitches, and we have Blade on Sonya. So the first game already with a pretty promising setup here. If you followed the meta recently, then of course you already know that Tychus is a bit more of a frequent pick these days. And it's already represented here with on level 1 him going into the Press the Advantage, so that you get a bit of an increase on the attack range. Pretty much amazing for chasing. Another talent with a Dampen Magic. That's actually like a pretty crazy talent. It also allows Nuborak to stay alive a little bit more in these fights when he's trying to dive the backline. Cooldown reduction with a Frost Presence taken on Arthas. And Nuborak and Arthas are of course both heroes that have been recently changed by Blizzard, and it's incredibly important for both of them that they have now finally a place in the meta, and we see them together here with a lot of CC, as the Gravity Lapse could be as a follow-up. We're having at the top lane a bit of a battle going on between Sonya and Falstad. It's actually quite common on this map in particular that you have at the top lane your solo laner, and then between the middle and the bottom you have a rotation happening with the rest of the team. Every now and then there's going to be a bit of a sneaky attempt to gank the top laner, but usually if you call that out properly, there shouldn't really be too much happening here. But at this point, we're still seeing a rotation going strong. We have, by the way, Fawcett going into the Season Marksman. We've been talking about this already a bit earlier. It's a very, very strong build for him right now to go into Season Marksman as a level 1 talent, which is now a quest talent, as you might already know. Gives you a bit of auto-attack damage. You have then also the opportunity to go into additional self-sustain on level 4, where you can get 20% heal from the auto-attack damage, which is absolutely insane. Hammer gains. On level 7, we have the Perfect Storm, which is now combined with a Power Throw. And that's really one of those changes where Blizzard buffed this build quite a bit. Once again, we're going to take a bit of a closer look at the stacks. We're having 5 extra damage already on Falstad. But for now, as we see down here, the hooks are hitting, and they're hitting hard. But the initial engage here immediately countered by a Nubarak diving in, trying to help out Rhaegar. But in this case, nothing really happens. Falstad at the top lane, getting an additional wave right now. Our Arcane will fly down, but he secures level 4 first for his team. And on level 4, we have now that minigun. In the rhythm has been taken here. And that's actually a very important talent now. A minigun usually first activated when you're trying to go for a target, and then following it up with an overkill. Especially Donatano and his Arthurs needs to be a bit careful with that. He went straight on level 4 into the Biting Cold for the extra damage with 30%. Helps him with the wave clear on the shrines immensely. Very important. Bad Benny already experiencing the damage output right now as he has to move back here. But look at Nubarak. The bug has been squished, so the cockroach is down, and that should secure the first Punisher to the red team. Elysium is gaining Punisher number 1. In terms of builds, we have, by the way, the Static Shield taken over the auto-attack heals. We're also seeing now the Locust Needles taken for Nubarak, so a bit of a different build for him. But all that AoE that we're seeing on Nubarak can actually be absolutely insane to not only wave clear and push the lanes back heavily, but also to go straight into an attempt to get additional minion stacks on those shrines. So a pretty sweet setup here that we already have for the blue team. Whereas the red team, on the other hand, is following it up with a Putrid Ground now. They're having Focus Attack taken, seeing the Leeching Plasma, and a very nice setup for both the teams. I really like the small adjustments that we have on talents at this point. It caters towards the map, it caters towards the objective, and this is one of the things that is actually very crucial when you play Heroes of the Storm, that you not only try to draft a setup that is strong against your opponent, but that you also keep the objective in mind and make sure that you really cater towards it, which in this case means you need a bit more wave clear than on other maps, just so they have an opportunity to get those minion stacks a little bit faster. Rhaegar, after the speed talent on level 1, went also straight into the Feral Heart, which allows him to get a little bit more sustain on lane, so he can stay in the fight a bit longer. Camps are taken on the map right now for both of the teams. Bit of a more aggressive camp now taken here at the bottom. The safer camp would of course have been the one right over here, but this is one that they can claim a bit later. For now, level 7 talents are crucial for them, and there is that Cleanse. Cleanse is a really important talent to take right now because of that Gravity Lapse, Howling Blast, and Nubarak stun comp that we've been talking about a bit earlier. So that can really help to keep the team alive, but you have to drop some extra heals up for it. And that's of course incredibly important. Oh, wow, Arcane with the barrel roll here. Yeah, that was a close call. Nice hooks by Bad Benny so far in the game. I'm really liking it. We're seeing now also the Chitinous Plating taken with the cooldown reduction that we have here. And we also have the Immortal Coil now. So we actually see a lot of sustain here already on the side of Arthurs. We have at the same time nice AoE damage on Nubarak. That's going to be great for those shrines. And Stitches holding his level 7 talent for now, which is also kind of interesting. I'm a bit curious to see what he's going for here. Level 7 gives a couple of options on this map in particular, but we have both of the teams now going for camps again. And I have to admit that especially the red team is doing a bit of a better job here. They're taking the camp right in time so that they can push down the top lane, but at least the blue team is reacting and is taking their own camp now as well. So both of the teams have a Bruiser camp, then up at the top a Shaman camp, and someone will have to deal with that eventually. I guess that we're going to see Falstad stay a bit long at the top lane to try and eliminate it before he goes straight for the Shrine fight. But that Shrine fight has already started. Stitch is still not taking his level 7 talent. Both of the teams here currently fighting on 7. None of these teams is going to be able to head into 10 already, but Bad Benny is still waiting, and there it is, the last bite is taken. Alright, great talent to take on this map here, thanks to the minions, but you can activate it of course. But let's see how this fight is gonna go. We have the Punisher once already appearing for the red team, but the blue team is trying to make it work this time. The problem is they're far behind in minion stacks already. 33 against 11. Unless they're able to heavily invade the temple now, or the shrine, and get a few kills here, they're not going to make the Punisher. And they don't. They lose out on it. So once again, we are seeing the bot lane soaked by Falstad. We're seeing up at the top lane a bit of a gank against Blade, but it's very unlikely that this one is going to be successful, especially with AR now moving in too. Danatan is low. Mitch actually wants the kill, jumps behind the gate, but there's not really too much that can do damage against him since one of the towers is already out of ammunition. The Punisher in the meantime is still busy in the mid lane, where it's taken now by Lothair and Q on actually Rhaegar and on Kel'Thas. And I have to highlight that real quickly because I actually didn't talk about it just yet, and I apologize for that. But look at Q. He's on Kel'Thas. Lothair, the new addition to the team, is playing the support here, and Q is switching it up, not playing the support role anymore, but instead all of a sudden on the damage hero, which is kind of crazy. It's a role that he has played in the past already, but oh, nice palm, well done. But the root against Tychus, and AR goes down. Great kill here against him. Arcane, on the other hand, is falling against Falstad Storm. Very well played here. Dirty Street is trying to chase Danatan a bit. So far, not successfully. It's a kill for a kill, a decent exchange. Both of the teams, of course, now have also reached their level 10s, which in this case gives us the Pubic Bile, the Wrath of the Berserker for Sonya. We're seeing already the drill taken for Tychus. We've seen the palm in action, actually, in the last fight. And besides that, pretty standard talents to take for both of the teams here. We're talking talents, and we have now also the Army of the Dead taken for, especially, of course, Arthur's. I mean, survivability as the main tank is pretty much important. The drill can really be quite nice, as it's a very stationary fight oftentimes over the shrine itself. But when it comes to damage, we can just also have a closer look at that. We're currently on 12,000 hero damage on Arthur's, which just shows again that he has that role as main tank as well as a bruiser, especially with the damage output on his Frozen Tempest. It's very annoying to go up against that. And he has also pretty decent wave player, but Q is about to be taken out. Oh my god. Wow, the save is real. Q on Kel'Thas survives somehow. Very well done. That was a close call here. That was a very, very nice engage on the side of Elysium, but still, he didn't get a kill out of it. When it comes to the damage overall, we're having hero damage with 16k for Sonya and 50,000 wave clear as well, which is, of course, pretty much what the current looking for here. Falstad is flying back down so that they can maybe fight for the shrine that is active once again. Both of the teams on the same talent, and that gives them a chance here. Blade is already being attacked. Here comes that laser. Real man drill deep, and that's exactly what Tychus is trying to do here. Q is about to be blown up, can move away, and the drill is taken out. Position on the temple now taken by the blue team. We're seeing the Evil Murkies starting to take a lead in stacks. Danatan gets hooked on the other hand, forcing Falstad to go for the Mighty Gust and nearly taken out by the grenade. Arthas is visible still. He's not moving away. He really should, because Mitch is looking for the kill. Danatan is finally about to move in once again. 23 stacks against 13. Bad Benny has been a bad boy and been very far out at the front line. So is Q though, and Blade is capitalizing on the positional mistake here for Kel'Thas. Moves in from the side, flanks him and takes him down, and that means that Elysium Gaming is claiming position once again. Dirty Street already with a force wall, making sure that he buys his team a bit more time to go for that Punisher. A good hook from Bad Benny, but Arcane is flying away. Punisher is taken once again. Very, very well done. Great job here on the side of Elysium, but look at that experience. Once again, we're seeing both of the team on nearly the same amount. Arcane can get value at the top lane right now, taking down a few of the structures. That's also additional stacks, of course, on his Seasoned Marksman. But at the bot lane, that Punisher is raging hard. The only question is, are they going to lose a few of their heroes as well, or will they only lose structures? And so far, both of the teams claiming level 13, which brings us to the Eradicating Spines, which is actually a very powerful talent for Nubarak, because it finally allows him to dish out a bit of more damage, not only against the objective, but also at the same time during those team fights. It's going to be a very crucial talent for him to use here. And we have, with the Frigid Winds, now also Arthur's putting a little bit more focus on his Frozen Tempest, which is actually very powerful, especially since a lot of these shrines, or a lot of these fights are happening on the shrines, where it's a very small and closed out area. So Arthur's is going to get a lot of value out of his Frozen Tempest, and once he hits level 16, it's very likely that we're also going to see him with those extra roots. Besides that, though, we're having, with the minigun, now also That's the Stuff taken, which is probably the most common talent on Tychus these days, so that you get a bit more sustain here for yourself. And we also have, with Rhaegar, the Earth Shield, which is going to be great for Danatan in particular on his Arthurs. He wants to be up at the front line. He wants to get value out of his Frozen Tempest. Nice hook, but it only hits an Uberak, and that's, of course, the most unlikely target to take down if he still has all of his cooldowns up. And he immediately just burrow charged away. Bad Benny again being attacked here. Zzz on Uberak is just simply blown to pieces on the other hand. And here comes the attack against Lothair, who is still on the run and might get away if he's not getting hooked back. Benny was looking for an opportunity. The cooldown wasn't ready though. In this case, they only suffer one loss. They lose an Uberak. It's 4 kills against 1 overall. But of course now they have to wait until the second tank is back. But the damage output on the second tank is going to be really important in the upcoming fights. Eradicating Spines is a very important talent for an Uberak to get. After level 13, he can finally start to get a lot of damage out. And if you look at the damage output, he's actually already dishing out a lot of damage in these games. 19,000 hero damage, that's more than Falsight has. Granted, Falsight has also been the hero that was always sent to the offlane to soak additional experience, so it was not really a big opportunity for Arcane to get a lot of damage in here. And when we're looking at Khaldor, of course, usually you wait for the level 13 and 60 talent before he can really put out damage. But it's definitely something to keep in mind here, that an Uberak is definitely one of those hard-hitting bruiser type of tanks right now. Yeah, Danatan missing, unfortunately, the Howling Blast for them, but Dirty Sweet still suffering a bit of extra damage here before the Shrine is active. And both of the teams now currently aiming for level 16, and that's why we're seeing this heavy attack in the mid lane. They're trying to pick up a bit of additional experience before that level 16 talent hits for the opponent. Oh my god. That hook already scratched the armor of Arthur's as Danatan was trying to move away here. Fishing Hook has been claimed as a level 16 talent. Sonya even going into the Imposing Presence on level 16 instead of going for the Nerves of Steel. We're seeing the Circle of Life and the Titan Grenade now taken for Tychus after he already went into the quarterback on level 7. But with the level 16 talent already claimed, the blue team is not even contesting the Shrine. They're just simply going to the bot lane to try and burst one of the forts down to secure experience. At the same time, it was an exchange since, of course, the red team was countering that with a push at the top. And that opens up that top lane completely so that the Punisher can go straight for the keep. Uh-oh! Danatan has to pop his ult to stay alive here. The ghouls are moving in. That force wall was actually perfect, but we now also see Epicenter taken. Sun King's Fury, they go in. Sonya is not with them just yet. If they can get the kill against Bad Benny, that would be brutal. The palm is out, not triggered though. Well done, and as expected, the Remorseless Winter has already been taken. They're trying to go for the kill against Blade now, but the Punisher is there. They need to move away before he jumps. They want to bait the jump over the wall, of course, and that's exactly what happens. So now they can try and burst this away. Falsight is on 32 extra damage already, so it's 8 extra damage away from completing his quest talent. But the hook against Falstad, and Arake needs to use the Mighty Gust, does it, and is able to save himself here. That Punisher nearly eliminated. Looks for now like the keep is still going to survive. Job well done, and nice reaction here by Arcane on Falstad. It was a very important Mighty Gust. If he falls in this situation, then it would be a bit of a disaster for the team, but so far, so good. Let's not, I mean, at this point, Elysium is definitely controlling the game. Let's not, let's lie about that. We have, 2 forts still up for them. They only lost 1. They are really controlling the fights. It's 4 kills against 1, which is nothing too crazy, but they have the experience lead. They took most of the Punishers. But right now, with every single talent, Evil Murkies are getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and their setup is actually quite powerful. So I feel that one fight is all that Evil Murkies need to really go into this. The Evil Murkies, on the other hand, or Elysium on the other hand, they're really trying, of course, to make sure that with the next Punisher, they're also getting their first keep. But it's now 17 versus 18. And that means that we're once again fighting on level 16 talents for quite some time. And that could be a bit of a problem. Danatan down here already on the prowl. We're trying to go for Bad Benny again, but that has not worked out so far. A bit of a shift against Blade. Here comes the fly in. Very nice Mighty Gust. Very well done. Danatan attack, but the kill attempt against Blade. Ah, the palm. But the problem is that Charism is down. Falstad not hit by that Ancestral in time. He's also dead, which makes it a 4 versus 4. Blade is about to fall, but still able to well win the way. What about Tychus, though? He's not able to escape here. The double kill for the Evil Murkies. Could have maybe even saved that Falstad. Sonya also taken down. God knows how. That must have been Khaldor's. That must have actually been Khaldor. I have no idea how else he would have died. Sonya was already out of it. There's no other skill that can really travel the map at this point. I guess that was a living bomb that Dirty Sweet brought over and took Sonya down. So that was a bit of a WTF moment right there, I suppose. But now with 3 heroes down and on the map of 4 versus 2, it looks like that first shrine, or that, sorry, the next shrine is going to end up in the hands of the Evil Murkies. At least they have a very good chance of making it happen. Falstad is now also back to business and can fly in to help out here. But we have another 18 seconds, 17, 15 seconds now on Sonya. That's a very, very comfortable lead that we are now seeing for the Evil Murkies to make this happen. And Falstad is already at the same time trying to just complete his quest talent. If he would have not died in the last fight, if that Ancestral Healing would have hit a little bit faster from Rhaegar, then we could have seen that quest talent already complete in the last battle, which would have been great for him. But now we're seeing that the red team is already moving away from the shrine. They know that they have no chance of making this happen in time. In terms of damage output, by the way, we are still seeing Kalthas now starting to take over with 40,000. But we still have Arthas on 38k. We are seeing also Nubarak with 29,000. Falstad with 2 deaths is still on 20k. But again, I want to highlight here that he had, of course, also the duty to just soak the extra experience throughout the entire game. Now, Nubarak is already in position right there as well. Went, by the way, not for the Cocoon. We already saw that in the fights, of course. Locust Swarm Flame it is. Survivability and damage, that's what we're currently seeing from him. And when we're talking damage, then it's also pretty important to highlight that Tychus is still the hero that dished out the most damage in the game. 44,000 for him. Very, very solid, despite the 2 deaths that he already suffered at the hand of the Evil Murkies, who now have their level 20 with a Master of Flames after the Sun King's Fury. We're seeing also the Legion of Northrend taken, and the Epic Mount for Falstad did not go into the Nexus Frenzy here. The first keep is falling, and that's the Murkies really pushing the advantage that they have, trying to take down the first few structures, doing a very solid job here. Once again, we're having up at the top lane a camp pushing in though, and Falstad has to take care of it. Epic Mount, of course, helps him to just move in for that. I wouldn't even blame him, to be honest with you, to just simply use the Mighty Gust if he needed it. I guess in this case it's not really necessary, since the keep has not really suffered any damage yet. But this is one of those situations when the keep is already low on HP, you can definitely use an ult and a cooldown to save it. For now, didn't really make a difference, so they didn't really have to. But the cooldown is still with 60 seconds rather low. Of course, it's like a lot higher than it was before, when it was just 40 seconds and you could basically spam that thing out in every single fight. But right now, we're still seeing a decent amount. We have by now also the quest talent completed, which allows Falstad to go into a bit more auto attack speed during these fights. The 20s are there for both teams, which leaves us with Ignore Pain on Sonya, a double Storm Shield for Tassadar and also for Karazin, who did not go into the Palm upgrade. We're having, besides that, the Sizzling attacks now taken, on the other hand, on level 20. And yep, that with a minigun stack is of course pretty brutal. Arthas is not going to have a fun time, and Air on his Tychus is most likely going to rack up quite a bit of damage points here against the opponent. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty sweet fight that we have on the level 20 talents now. At the top lane, huge pressure play, by the way, that we are seeing now, thanks to that camp that has been put into play. And we are having another fort about to be eliminated. Here comes that battle, though. Already Anubarak looking for an opportunity to maybe get that stun chain going once again. But everyone else is just like retreating. Bad Benny at the front, still doing a pretty decent job. I mean, I really have to say that Stitches has not only been able to throw a very solid amount of hooks out, but overall, despite the build that he chose, not going into the Hungry for More, any kind of like super passive talents, he has a very good survivability here now. The Shrine is about to be active in another couple of seconds, and it's just enough for the Evil Murkies to claim another camp, which would be a bit of a nuisance, I suppose, and has to be dealt with eventually. But for now, it's just all about that Shrine being active. Danatan, already hooked, starts to move in. He's right where he wants to be. He's at the front line, and everybody else is moving in now too. Here comes that first push-up on the side of Anubarak, making sure that those spikes hit hard. Arcane also waiting for an opportunity to maybe focus on Bad Benny at the front line here. Danatan clearing the wave, helping the camp out, and now starting to move in. He's actually followed by Air, and that's exactly what Tychus wants to do. Focus the hit point heavy tank out first. Nice Phoenix placement on the side of Q. Very well done here, but the flank from Blade on his Sonya, trying to get the damage in as Bad Benny is also moving in now. Sonya is a bit far out though, blown to pieces immediately. Sonya is already dead. It's a 5 vs 4. We're seeing Falstad flying in with a quick Mighty Gust, trying to go exactly for Tychus, as we're also seeing the laser down once again. Falstad is dead, but so is Tychus. The Palm is missing actually. Mitch palms himself instead of Tychus, because Tychus is already dead. has to jump away here with a dash, and that is a solid victory for the Evil Murkies in another shrine fight on Infernal Shrines. Well done here. Very unfortunate for Mitch. Happens every now and then that you actually plan on palming someone. He dies before the palm goes through, and all of a sudden you end up palming yourself instead. It's a very unfortunate thing to happen, and that's exactly what we saw here. He was aiming, of course, for Sonya in this case, but that didn't really work out. Now we're having the Murkies once again with the pressure, and they eliminate the bot towers before the Punishers even moving in. They might be trying to go for a core here, actually. They will at least get the keep. Already both of the towers down. The only thing that still remains at the bot lane is that keep, and that Punisher, it is going to be brutal. It's a frozen Punisher as well, so the red team has to be very careful that they're not locked down here. If that happens, that would be a disaster for them. They baited into the middle. Doesn't really help them too much because that keep is still exposed, but a great hook against Donatan. Oh my god, that was beautiful, but it was not enough to take it down. That Benny is still going deep though with a Putrid Bile now too, trying to zone them as much as he can. They need to buy some more time. That's exactly what they're doing now. Elysium Gaming with a very solid defense so far, but still the keep falls, of course, and that Punisher is still on half HP, more than that even, and they're going for core slowly and steadily, trying to push that in. Here comes the Initiate with Nubarak going for the kill potentially. Bad Benny is eating the first bombs. They're spreading with the Master of Flames. Very nice Mighty Gus, buying a bit more time and space to go straight for core. And this looks like the Evil Murkies are claiming game number 1. Solid play here from the team in blue. Well done. And we have the 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series here at the ZOTAC Cup monthly final. Alright, after I just muted myself once again in the middle of the draft, that happens every now and then when you actually like have the teams being so fast that you are all of a sudden like looking at a draft when you expect to have a break for like 2 minutes and you're just jumping in and you're trying to press buttons. But yeah, so I muted myself for the actually first few picks here with the analysis, and I guess Chad had a lot of fun with that. But as we can already see, we have Evil Murkies going up against Evil Genius again. Against Elysium Gaming, there we go. That damn EG up at the top there. Cursed Hollow is the map, and Evil Murkies, they are in the lead with a 1-0. We have Illidan and Falstad bans, nothing really too unusual for Cursed Hollow. The interesting part is that Elysium Gaming is prioritizing their Sonya once again, and they did that already in the game before, but Sonya is of course a very powerful hero to run in any kind of setup. It's pretty cool though to see that the Evil Murkies are just like sticking with what worked in game number 1. They use a Nubarak and they use Khaldor. And a Nubarak in particular can of course piss off a team to no end with those beetles if you're trying to channel anything, like a tribute for example. So the beetles are going to be quite annoying. And also the ability to dive the backline for Nubarak is just extremely powerful and very, very strong. Khaldor, I don't really think I have to say anything about the hero. He's just really strong as is. Even after Sun King's Fury got nerfed a bit in the damage output, he's just one of those priority picks that you always want to have on your end. We're seeing Elysium Gaming with a Rhaegar pick at this point. And there's a couple of options how you can play it. Once again, that double support is of course a huge asset if you go for it. But it seems a bit like Elysium is trying to switch it up with the Sylvanas here. And Sylvanas has a huge priority on the North American server. And it's actually also played in other regions a bit more than in Europe. But Europe is slowly starting to add her a lot more often to their setup. It's a very strong hero here, especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen and also on any kind of like objective map where you have a summon push for you, like the Punisher, like an Immortal for example. But on maps like Cursed Hollow, we don't see her too often. She's very powerful overall though with the engage that you get from the Wailing Arrow. But on Cursed Hollow, a lot of teams argue that she's not really doing so much because basically a curse is nothing else but her trait for the team. So don't get too much value out of her trait during the curse time. But if you look at the engages and also like the positioning where these fights happen between like really close quarters in like very small areas, then you can get a lot of value out of the Wailing Arrow, and therefore Sylvanas in this case. Not really the setup that you would expect, but she can still get a lot of value for the team here. Evil Murkies with a ban on Stitches, or thinking about it. I would like the Tyrael ban a little bit more, to be quite frank here. Stitches can be annoying if you're trying to channel a tribute and then a hook comes in, but I feel like a Tyrael with the Holy Ground that he can use is very powerful, and he would actually provide an engage for Elysium Gaming as well. But the Evil Murkies, they decide to go for a Stitches ban, and it feels a bit like they're trying to push Elysium Gaming out of their comfort zone and trying to go and target ban against Bad Benny as well. Stitches was definitely a huge nuisance for the Evil Murkies in the last game, so I guess it's a little bit understandable that they're currently trying to use that. Tyrande now also once again hovered over from Elysium Gaming. It really feels that with that early Kalthas pick for Evil Murkies, what Elysium Gaming is very scared of is that Starfall and Phoenix Death Zone. Also, Tyrande, of course, gets a lot more value on this map compared to Infernal Shrines because that owl, once you hit Pierce, is just incredibly powerful to interrupt channels, and you can delay tributes for a very long time, which can make for a very annoying game. The Evil Murkies with a Tasda pickup. Keep in mind that the Thrall is also still out there, so they could very well go into... Actually, could they go into a Thrall? I could have seen them with a ban on Tasada, to be honest with you, to take it away from the Sonya Rhaegar composition. With them going for Tasada and Uther, they have a very strong double support already, and could again head into that double warrior. We have actually seen that a lot already. Double warrior with a double support, only one damage dealer, and especially with the Nubarak and Arthas also being like two tanks that can do a lot of damage, I feel we are going to see that Uther as the last pick here. Because, let's face it, there's no bans anymore. It's very unlikely that Elysium Gaming is going to go for a Rhaegar and Uther. That probably triggered the switch for the Evil Murkies, that they just looked at it and were like, wait boys, they're not going to pick an Uther here. We want Arthas either way. They might pick Arthas away from us. Let's go for Arthas first. Then we're not as flexible going into our last pick, but we still have the opportunity to pick up that Tasada plus the Uther, and that gives us then a very, very strong front line. Because killing these boys is going to be really difficult. They have an Arthas, they have a Nubarak, they have a double support behind it, Kalthas for the main damage output, but we've seen in the last game already how Arthas and Nubarak can actually do a lot of work in that backline. So it's not like they're lacking the damage necessarily here. Elysium Gaming with Muradin, it's a pretty cool hero to have at the front end, of course. Very tanky, very sustainable. With a Sonya, you have also a very beefy setup here. And they need to try and create some space for Tychus as well. Jinj, thank you very much for the support, bro. But yeah, Uther taken, as expected. So yeah, interesting one.
You know what to do with the money. Kappa, cheers.
Coffee. Thanks for that, dude. But yeah, the Tychus here again. And I mean, Tychus had a lot of damage in the last game. We've already seen that he is very popular in the Korean scene. He's very popular now also in the Western scene as well. But Tychus is going to have a good time against Arthas in particular, since he has a very high damage pool. And he's going to try and just get that percentage damage in once again. So I really like the setup that we have for Elysium Gaming. I have to give a bit of an advantage to the Evil Murkies here, though. I really think the dive ability of Anubarak is going to help them a lot to just initiate the fight, and Arthas, once he gets into the backline, is going to be very tough to kill, especially with Uther and Tasada trying to keep the two alive. They should be able to create a lot of space for Kalthas so that he's always safe. Reaching Kalthas for Elysium Gaming should be more or less impossible unless they go leap on Sonya. So overall, I would give a bit of an advantage here to the Evil Murkies. But well, let's find out. Curse Hollow is our second map, so let's go in right away in the semi-final at the ZOTAC Cup monthly final and find out which team is going to claim victory. Game number 2, everybody, is starting up, and we have the 1-0 lead for the Evil Murkies in the series here. And well, at this point to the left side on Cursed Hollow, we are once again seeing the French team with Q on Tasada. We have Zzz, aka Tic Tac on Anubarak, Danatan on Arthas. Lotea is playing Uther, the main healer now for the team. We have Arcane on Kalthas, and to the right side it is Elysium with Mitch on Rhaegar, Dirty Sweet on Sylvanas, Air on Tychus, Bad Benny on Muradin, and Blade once again on Sonya. It is the semi-final, the first one actually, in the ZOTAC Cup monthly final here. And on the level 1 talents, we are seeing basically the same talents that have been chosen in the last game. Double Conjurer's Pursuit for Tasada and Uther. We have also the Felon Fusion for the ability power for Kalthas, and the cooldown reduction with the Frost Presence for Arthas, with the Dampen Magic taken on level 1 for Anubarak. Again, press the advantage. Overflowing Quither now for Sylvanas, which is actually interesting because it's one of those talents that you don't see too often. That's probably like the wrong wording. It's not like the talent is not taken at all or anything, but mostly we're seeing different talents taken on level 1 here. We have also Block plus Reverberation taken, and yeah, this should actually be a fun one. I'm kind of liking that we are having it showcases pretty much what we have as a switch in the meta. It feels like most of the teams are starting to focus again on a double warrior setup. It's not like we didn't see that in the last meta or the last few patches already, but it's more of a common theme these days, especially now that we're only having one range damage healer on Evil Murkies. It basically shows. Sonya killed at the top, but down here it's really a heavy push that we're seeing thanks to Sylvanas. So currently what Elysium is doing is trying to get a lot of value out of Sylvanas in particular, and they already took down the first tower. Sonya dying at the top lane doesn't really have a huge impact here on the other hand, because, well, there's still Mitch ready to take over the experience, and the experience lead that you get from taking a hero down this early is not really all that big. But taking the structures, that's of course a different story. So they are also trying to power play here. Mitch alone has absolutely no chance of making anything happen in this case. Thanatan is moving in, Blade is back to business, they can't really get the kill here, but both of the teams now taking one of the walls down. It's a pretty even exchange, so far Sylvanas not really adding too much. I guess that the bottom pressure play was a little bit more successful in the sense of keeping everyone alive and not taking too much damage. Sylvanas is already moving over to take the camp over here. And guys, by the way, if you play EuroLeague with Sylvanas, do your team a favor and don't try and do camps on your own. Yes, you can do it. Of course, Sylvanas with her trait is able to take a camp quite easily. The problem is, if you do it alone, it takes you an eternity. So most of the time when you're thinking about doing a camp solo, it's a bad idea. There are exceptions, no doubt about that, but normally you should at least get someone to help you out with it. It's much faster, and then you can just both go back on lane and help the rest of the team. The first tribute is ready though, and the timing here for the camp is actually fantastic. And not only that, we're having both of the teams of course taking the camp at 2 minutes, but the positioning for the tribute is much better now for the red team, because it is way far away from the bot lane where the Siege Giant camp is pushing in right now. We have also Sylvanas still on the lane. Blade is stunned once, twice, about to be taken out. Thanatan goes in for the kill and he gets it. Dirty Sweet pauses the game, but the kill is already there. Sonya is down. Apparently a TeamSpeak drop, and yeah, that didn't of course really affect the play in this case, but yeah, unfortunate for them that they already lose this hero, because, right, it's actually perfect for us because I can explain quite a bit what's going on here. So the tribute spawns top. Both of the teams take at the same time their Siege Giants. Siege Giants at the top lane are pushing in, but can always be taken out by the red team without straying too far away from the tribute, so they can do that without losing anything. At the bot lane, on the other hand, the Siege Giants are doing their work. And there's now two scenarios. Scenario number one is Anubarak and Sylvanas rotate up to the top and make it a 5 versus 5 battle over the tribute. Then the Siege Giants are pushing in. And if they don't rotate up to the top, then you can still have Sylvanas here together with the Siege Giants pushing heavily against Anubarak, who solo basically doesn't really stand a chance against this push. So it's going to get a lot of value. The problem is, in order to make it happen, what the red team needs to do is try and prolong this fight at the top for as long as they possibly can. The longer this fight lasts, the more time Sylvanas at the bot lane has to just simply push through the fort here. So right now, losing Sonya at the top lane against Thanatan and the pressure play that we just saw is a bit of a problem, because right now they only have 3 heroes alive. And with the positioning here, you can already tell that there's actually a pretty decent chance for the blue team to pick up another kill. And if they get another one, not only will they be able to pick the tribute up quite easily, but they could also just simply play for the fort here, which is going to be huge, because that Siege Giant camp that they could defend is so far not taken out. So the situation, or what started as a very good spawn and a really good situation for the red team, can backfire hard right now, just because they lost Sonya this early and because they basically had the entire situation at the top lane turn against them. If they now lose another hero, then it's going to be a 2 versus 4 at the top lane and a Siege Giant camp that pushes in, so they can take all of that down quite easily and might be able to push for Ford. So it's really annoying for Elysium what just happened here. And, well, we're looking at the talents just before the game is going to be resumed here. We have now also again the Feral Heart taken. We're also seeing now the Withering Barrage after already the focus on the Overflowing Quiver. Again, in the rhythm. And we're seeing the focus attack here now taken too. For Anubarak, a bit of a change here with the Legion of Beetles. It's a bit of a switch from the first game. And that kind of shows that they pick the same hero, but they take different builds depending on the map. In the last game, they went straight for the area damage so that they could get a bit of control over the objective. But right now on this map, they are just going for additional beetles to just really help out during the fights. Might even go for the Legion Scarabs on level 7. We're going to find out. And also, again, the Biting Cold with the damage play here. But yeah, the situation down here at the bot lane is going to be really crucial, because I feel If Anubarak plays it well, it looks like he's just going for the well, should have the cooldown ready. He is going to at least save the fort, and of course, especially if up at the top lane another hero dies, they can also rotate one back down and help out against Sylvanas. But this situation up here is very, very annoying right now for the red team. And keep in mind that this is actually game number 2. Game number 1 already ended in the hands of Evil Murkies, and that means if they win this game, they will advance to the finals here. And will then either face, I think it's CLG in the second match, and they are playing against Crowing Cox as far as I know. So yeah, so it's going to be a pretty strong team that they would face there, but I mean, finals is finals. Seems like the problem that they have with their TeamSpeak server is maybe a bit trickier. Alright, looks... Okay, there we go. Seems like it's ready to go once again, and therefore we can just like jump in. But yeah, this is going to be, as the other observers are already talking, basically a question who's going to die next. I mean, Rhaegar should be able to get away, but Bad Benny, if he has the jump ready, the problem that I really see is mostly Tychus in this case right now. I feel this is going to be the biggest problem for them. But as far as I can tell, it seems like they still have a bit of an issue with, like, delay. That would be a bit annoying, of course, if they can't resolve the TeamSpeak server issues. Communication is one of the most important things that we actually have in Heroes of the Storm, which is why, personally, I feel we really need voice chat in Hero League matches as well. Of course, every now and then you will have that screaming idiot on your side, but then you can always use that mute button. But voice communication would just really help to coordinate team fights quite a bit. So, in this case, we're just going to wait for them to resume, and then we're going to jump straight in. Alright guys, the game is back up or just a moment, and let's see who's gonna fall here first. They're trying to go for Rhaegar, they're not getting anyone just yet, but Rhaegar is super low, and there's the gravity lapse that we talked about. Down he goes, Danatan escapes, and that's the second kill that we've been talking about at the beginning already. So, pretty annoying situation now for Elysium. Tribute is already about to be taken, and now it's time to protect the Siege Giants. Pretty much what's happening down at the bottom as well, but Anubarak is actually getting a bit more value out of this and is able to push them back for now. Dirty Sweet is doing his best to put the additional pressure onto the fort, but he can't really do too much with him now having also to care about the rotation that comes up from the top. So yeah, in this case, first Tribute lost, also 3 kills against them. Very annoying situation as is. And let's see how exactly that's going to play out for them, because at this point right now we are having AR already at the top trying to push Q back. The rotations have happened. We're seeing Bad Benny and Mitch trying to kill a few camps. I mean, there's nothing really that you can do at this point really. You need to get a bit of lane control back. You need to just like cut your losses at the top lane and say like, okay guys, let's focus on the rest. Level 7 is the most important thing for them at this point. And leeching beetles, by the way, or leeching scarabs have been taken on level 7 now, as kind of expected already. So a bit more of a sustainable build here for Tic Tac on his Smurf account. We're seeing also Immortal Coil now taken. We have again the Gravity Crush, and of course the Color's Embrace for Tacita. But Tribute number 2 is now in play, and this is again a situation in which the red team might be able to fight for it, since they have the 7 talent as well. And they have also a pretty decent position here for that Tribute. Tacita is trying to interrupt, but Muradin is already waiting. And that's an easy Tribute there. Bit of an advantageous spawn here for them. So that really worked out quite nicely. At the same time, we're seeing the bot lane pressure here once more to Danatan. Needs to be careful. Gets healed. We have Muradin, by the way, still not picking his level 7 talent. We kind of would expect the Piercing Bolt to be taken here. I'm a bit surprised that he didn't pick yet. I mean, what else are you going to take in this case now? So Bad Benny, it looks a bit like he just forgot to take it. Not really a satisfying answer, but it might have happened, I don't know. They're having him in a bit of a problem. There's the Piercing Bolt right now. Hell, it was about time. But for now, it's still 3 kills against 0. The red team trying to pressure with Sylvanas, which so far hasn't really worked out as well as they would have liked, I suppose. But let's see how they're going to... Oh, if they maybe can get a kill in the mid lane would be great, but they are the ones that are being engaged upon. And Bad Benny is stunned once, twice, jumps out. Here comes the follow-up stun by Tic Tac and his Anubarak, but not enough to lock Bad Benny down since he just jumps away from it. So level 9 versus level 8, but still very close in experience and not really a massive gap or anything. No real level 10 threat just yet, but already Khaldor at the bot lane, busy trying to burst another wave down. Blade with a bit of extra damage against him. Well done so far, but we have now an easy Tribute channel for the blue team. So more or less given up now. But we still see Arthas rotating up to the top, and Bad Benny with a stun. AR can go straight for the minigun. Goes for minigun and overkill, trying to take Donatan down. Not able to do that. Now all of the stuns are there. The double lockdown against Tychus, and that's the kill. They didn't see the rotation, and it takes them down. That's the level 10 as well. And with the heroic ability, they might be able to even follow it up with another kill. Bit unlikely considering the positioning, but still a very nice situation here for the Evil Murkies. They're running the show right now. They're calling the shots in this case. Arthas, by the way, not going for a talent yet. He could go into a Syndragosa here, I suppose, if he really wanted to, but I feel the Army of the Dead is still a bit more likely for him. At this point, we're just seeing him taking another camp. Very well timed again with that particular tribute, as long as they can interrupt it a bit. But there's already a new Barak. Can you get the channel through? Yes, there we have it. Okay, so ability coming in. Arthas making his way over. Arcane already appearing on the scene of the crime as well. The drill is ready. Wrath of the Berserker activated, and it is the Army of the Dead for Arthas. They're starting to both go for the tribute, but keep that value in mind that they're getting out of the Siege Giant camp at the top lane. On the other hand, there's also a Siege Giant camp pressuring the fort at the bot lane in the same situation, but it's already about to be defeated, so top lane pressure is going to be really important. As long as this fight is lasting, the top lane is going to get value, but the snipe attempt, Divine Shield is out in time. The Wailing Arrow not enough to take down Kalthas here. Once again, they're jumping in. Nice AoE with the Phoenix. Bad Benny and his boys, they're jumping away, spreading the bombs of Kalthas, by the way. Mitch is low. Sylvanas about to fall, just barely getting away there. Bad Benny also rushing home. The channel is nearly through. There would be the curse, but the interrupt thanks to the Haunting Wave on Sylvanas. The problem is that everybody is so low that they might not be able to go for another interrupt. Lothair is getting that in just before he's attacked by Sonya. Very well played here. Maybe the kill now against Arcane as well. Yeah, Kalthas has no chance here. He might get the kill against Bad Benny. They do, but it's still a curse against them. A 4 versus 4 situation, but if Blade dies, that would be a disaster. 2 heroes down, top lane already eliminating the fort thanks to that camp that we've been talking about earlier. Now it's a curse against them as well. Very low on mana here for Nubarak. He won't be able to take down Tychus, but he still can get the value against the lane. The pressure play in the middle is also happening just with the healer at this point though, so not doing too much here just yet. But we have Arthas now going back home, everybody else alive, down to the bot lane, another wave eliminated by Anubarak, job well done. He has the mana for a burrow charge and he needs to use that to move away. The level 13 talent is giving them a bit of an additional lead, and now that the pressure play in the mid lane continues, we will see another fort fall very likely. Oh, Mitch could even be taken out here if they get our Arcade in range for Gravity Lapse, but he only hits Sonya. They're trying to go for a body block here, and with also Arthas being back to business, they might get the kill, and they do. The coil takes him down. Death coil use here by Arthas in the last moment, and that is a dead keep, that fort, and a dead Sonya as well. Staggering the deaths right now, which gives them not only a 1.5 level lead, but also a very huge structural advantage. 7 kills against 1 in favor of the Evil Murkies, and the French team is really showing their skills now. We're seeing also the fission bomb taken on level 13 now for Kalthas. So the increased radius, and that usually leads into the Master of Flames and Sun King's Fury. Would be surprised to not see those 2 talents being picked up. We have also, again, the reduction on oh, actually in this case, it's the range increase of the Howling Blast that we see in this case, and the additional route of the Trail of Frost. So more lockdown, a little bit easier for Donatan to already get this out. Another thing that we see is, again, the Articating Spines. It's the talent on Anubarak, really, if you're talking about the Beetle. Like, he is able to get so much pressure out of this and so much extra damage. Both of the teams, by the way, now with a boss. And that brings us into a very interesting situation for a very simple reason. Dirty Sweet is already moving away. I kind of would have liked him to try and push a little bit more with his trade and try to get more value out of the boss, but I guess they need him for the defense here. 13 versus 13 talents right now, with the Will of the Forsaken taken by Sylvanas. The big advantage for the blue team is that they already push for keep, but they could have maybe used Sylvanas' trade a little bit more to get value out of the boss at the top lane. One way or another, this keep is most likely going to fall right now. And it is a 5 versus 5 with a talent advantage for the Evil Murkies that they are, of course, very eager to use. Here comes already Arthas and Anubarak. They're going for the big engage. Great heal against Tychus. Very well done. Rhaegar with a great Ancestral, but still Tychus is way too far out here and in the middle of the opponent's team. He has no chance of surviving. They're attempting to go for Blade now to get the second kill, and it's very likely that Danatan is going to get that. Yeah, the wave is already taking him down. Sonya escapes, but not for long. And this is level 16 now against level 13. The boss is there. It's a double kill, a 5 versus 3, and they are trying to snowball into victory with them picking up not only Sun King's Fury, but also the Remorseless Winter and the Epicenter. They're going for the core. They might get the kills here. Danatan moves away some 68 points, gets their shield, and is able to survive a bit longer. They put the pressure on the core, but they're not able to finish it. 79%. It's just a bit too early in the game, and the death timers are too low. They re-engage against Dirty Sweet, but Sylvanas is able to move away. Nobody dying. There's the kill against Tacita, against Uta, and they might be able to also drop Arak. What is Arcane doing? What on earth? I guess he figured that he would die anyways and just thought, hey, I might be able to get a kill myself. The problem is that now all of a sudden they are very close in experience again, and yes, of course, the keep at the bot lane is a huge blow against Elysium Gaming, and also those additional points that were taken off the core. But overall, they lost their, well, they gained actually experience, and oh, they're, oh, what? Oh my god, the fail. And Nubarak trying to go away, and he must have been hammering that burrow button, and then he just remerges again before he crosses over the debris, and that takes him down. So a kill against the Nubarak, staggering the deaths. Again, the teams are even in experience, and this little, it was actually a pretty big fail that we've seen from the Evil Murkies, brings Elysium back into the game. Not only do we see the Evil Murkies overstay at the core, and they attempt to take down the core with the death timers being this low, but at the same time now also the Bido fail at the top. The tribute is being picked up by Elysium one way or another, and a Nubarak dies, and that's a very unfortunate situation right now. They are still forcing the fight here in a 4 versus 5 situation because the opponent was low. The Divine Shield saving Khaldor for now. Blade Whirlwinds in. Here comes that Trail of Frost again, and Nubarak is actually back and goes straight for Muradin. He is dead. The drill still on, but the lockdown attempt against Sylvanas, great unstoppable use here. Going for the Will of the Forsaken in this case. Mitch didn't even have to drop a cleanse. At the top, on the other hand, we still see a tribute ready, and Arcane is this time channeling it through to make sure that they're getting that. Another kill against Tychus will, of course, be fantastic for them, and they lock that down. They could go for boss, but the timer is still on the minute and 13, so they don't have a chance to really use that. But yeah, definitely a bit of a huge problem here on the side of Evil Murkies. I mean, no doubt about it. They brought back Elysium into the game. They controlled every single step of the way, and then they just got a bit too greedy. They saw a victory looming out of them, and instead of just playing it safe, they went for the risk, and it didn't pay off. Backfired very hard. And now they have to suffer the consequences, of course. They're still ahead on the other hand. I mean, still at the bot lane, the keep is missing, the lane is pushing hard. They have another 4 on lane as is, and now they are starting to take the camps. But when it comes to experience, they are very, very close now to Elysium. But of course, their setup is still extremely powerful. And we've been talking during the draft, of course, a little bit about the double warrior, double support setup. A lot of people would be looking at it and would be saying like, hey, where do they get their damage from? But if you look at the damage output here, they're having, especially now also Arthas, this huge output. Rhaegar dead, Sonya dead. They steal the camp away, and the invasion that we have on the map from them, you can really tell that they're not afraid to just push anything in. They're taking whatever fight there is because they know it's very difficult to take them down. With all the talents that they've been chosen, the army of that, for example, plus the double support behind it, Arthas is very tough to take down, and so is the Nubarak, especially since he went into the Locust Swarm as a level 10 talent. And with all of these talents combined, they can just like reign supreme at the front line and get all that damage in. There's the kill against Sylvanas. Incredibly well played. Top lane is getting pressured in the meantime too. Another triple kill against the red team, and you can really tell that the Evil Murkies, they are done playing here. They are saying, okay, we're going to take this. Go hard or go home, and they have no intention of going home, I can tell you that much. They already dropped the keep in the mid lane now. They can just easily start to move up to the top to take another one down if they wanted to. They're not going for core this time. We have a Nuburak with the opportunity to just burrow charge away, and he does that. It's a mini burrow charger, but that's all that he needs to do. And there's the level 20, and with our Storm Talents, we see them now with the Master of Flames taken. We're seeing redemption for Uther. They could have even pressured this more. They have the mana as well. I'm actually surprised that they don't, but they go for boss, and they basically just dare Elysium to contest the boss attempt here. Because right now, with Legion of Northrend taken for Arthas level 20 with a Storm Shield, and also Nuburak going straight into the Hardened Shield, there's very no chance for them. Arcane with a Divine Shield, they turn it around against Sonya. Blade gets healed, great heal by Rhaegar. The Ancestral goes through, but he's still incredibly low, and Arthas is pressuring them farther forward. Bad Benny jumps in, jumps out, trying to escape here. Boss is leashed, is once again aggroed, but they go for Muradin, and his cooldown is not ready. Down he goes, and that's the kill that they needed. And keep in mind that in the meantime, the bot lane and the mid lane are still pressuring against the red team. There's the curse now again, Tribute on the map, already channeled through by Arthas, who's riding in on his Direwolf once more to claim the boss. All of the lanes are pushing against Elysium Gaming right now. They are looking at another loss here. They are looking at elimination here at the ZOTAC Cup. So down goes Sylvanas, and the root against Tychus is going to seal his fate as well. Drill or no drill, he won't escape to this one. Or will he? And Nuburak is still in the middle of the fight, but yeah, he's going to secure that kill eventually. Mitch is trying to heal everybody up, but he doesn't have what he takes. There's Danatan even escaping on his Arthas. In the meantime, Lotea and Arcane went for the boss, even secured that. The core is already losing hit points. Danatan might die. Nope, he doesn't. There's another 800 hit point shield from Tacita. Down goes Uther, but he has redemption. The core is on 36%. Mitch is about to fall too. Everybody else is dying or just coming back now. And this is the end of it, as we're seeing the catapults. The Winions take the victory here. It's a 2-0 for the Evil Murkies against Elysium, and they advance to the grand final of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly. Congratulations, and well played.